Welcome to Movie to Beer, everybody. This is Dan Kopersky bringing us on in. And on this episode, we have some wonderful co-hosts.
Like usual, you got Blake, your Kung Fu expert.
Kung Fu.
And you've got Aaron, who was going to say Kung Fu Master, but Blake stole my line.
Well, it's
You're
Kung
not
Fu
a master. You're more than a master.
You're a Kung Fu genius.
You're Kung Fu. You are the Kung Fu genius.
Kung Fu. I'll take that. That's even better than a Kung Fu Master.
So,
Anyway, let's get into the movie sideways.
yeah. We watched this great thing called the Kung Fu Hustle. We had decided ahead of time, and we decided, let's mix it up a little bit. So we're doing a throwdown with the two beers that we had, which were Polly's Not Irish Red from Old Town Brewing and Crux Fermentation Project's Pilsner. So I had some crowlers, so you get them on draft, and they fill up a big metal can, and you take it home, and you drink it right away so it doesn't go flat. So it's basically draft beer out of a portable container.
The ancient art of draft, as taught in Hong Kong in 1943.
And the ancient art of drinking.
The ancient art of drinking.
That's way older. People have been drinking for at least 30 years.
And so the other one, the Crux Pilsner, I have a couple of kegerators, and one of them has a tap of that. Draft on draft. Let's fight. Kung Fu Hustle. Yes, another 2004 movie, but we're forgiving ourselves and keep forgetting that, yes, why do we keep watching movies from that year? Because we've done like 4 episodes now with movies from that year or around then. I don't know.
We heard what your demands, listeners. We're going to watch 2004 movies from 2004.
We're going to watch 2004 movies.
Yeah.
Yes. It just happens that way. So
if we have to, we'll go back in time and make some more so we can meet the requirement.
So this is a film that at least Blake and I have seen before years and years ago. And I remembered it being really funny and it's an hour and a half of just really light comedy. There's some violence,
but it's wonderful send-ups to classic kung fu movies.
Yeah, the typical,
including a lot of Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
He had a different art. I'm blanking on the name, but yeah.
Some of the actors in this one are actually kung fu actors that were famous.
Yes,
from some of the the 70s, like the heyday.
Yep.
It's very cool. It's a beautiful love letter to that style of filmmaking, that genre. A lot of the move names are after. I'll have to look at the name. This pulp writer.
Yeah.
The Lion's Roar, the Beast.
So Kung Fu Hustle was Stephen Chow's 7th film that he made.
7th?
It was his 7th film.
Good for him.
And he was in his 30s at that point. So he's also the main character.
I couldn't tell how old he was.
He writes, directs, and stars in his own films. And the dude's cut. I mean, he's ripped, as one would say.
Like Jesus.
And it follows this, I'm trying to remember, we had looked up the city that it's supposed to have taken place in.
Singapore?
Shanghai,
yes.
Okay, so Shanghai in the 40s. So they have, there's cars and guns and things, but you don't do that. You don't bring a gun to a knife fight or a fist fight because
you don't bring an axe to the wobbly stick fight.
Yeah, so the story centers around these two guys that are losers,
these punk kids trying to join the Axe Gang, the top gang in the area,
the best gang in that part of Shanghai,
and
there's a lot of them.
And just randomly they go to this little neighborhood area,
Pigsty Alley,
and so we watched this film. We started it without the subtitles, and I was like, you know what? The subtitles actually tell you some of the text that's on the screen and not just what's being said. So it's a little bit more helpful. I would recommend watching this, even though it is what we watched was dubbed in English.
Honestly, watch it with the dub and the subtitles.
Yes.
We read in the IMDb trivia. It's basically 2 different scripts.
Yeah.
You get different jokes. It's double the jokes, guys.
It is. It's double the jokes. And it's helpful because you get a little backstory and understanding as to, hey, there was this power void. The gangs came in. The government was kind of, you had mentioned that there's the Japanese occupation that occurred during around that same time. So there's not a lot of police out on the street. There's military, but there's not a lot of police.
Right.
Basically, these guys, they go try to shake down or hustle the people that are the shop owners of this little neighborhood.
The barber and the tailor.
Yeah. And then you come to find out that, hey, there's kung fu people all over the place. You just don't know.
Right.
Master is hiding in plain sight.
Yes, you just don't know. Even if they are a gay tailor, because, they make good clothes.
But he's a fairy.
Yeah, it's interesting.
That guy just kept running away, arms flailing. It was...
Yeah. It was a lot. That run was a lot.
A little bit too much.
You get a little splash of Looney Tunes in there. You get classic Chosen One hero discovery. You get that musical weapon art. You get a The Shining reference.
There's a Shining reference.
reason.
There's some bizarre movie references, and
A
you
lot of
mentioned
Bruce Lee movies, a lot
of homages being paid.
But also like letting your chi flow. You're letting your chi flow.
Yeah.
Kind of this metamorphosis, this
Yes.
evolution into becoming more.
Yes, because and I had written a little bit on our little note taker thing that we have. My thought of this was this film is the typical hero's journey, or it's not the hero's journey. It's the bad guy discovers that he can be a good guy by accident.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
he tries really hard to be a bad guy, but he sucks at being a bad guy because he's
Whoops.
just a nice guy.
Yeah.
And then he gets
lot of
basically the crap beat out of him, and that releases his chi, and he becomes the ultimate, kung fu master. He doesn't have
Kung
to
fu
learn
genius.
anything; he just knows it. It's
gets
just
to-
in his blood.
He gets to meet Buddha.
He does meet Buddha up in the sky.
That's right.
He gets
After-
a high five from Buddha.
He bounces up off an eagle, which is like the most American thing possible. Which is it's like
I thought it was a hawk.
no. Well, I don't know. Maybe
I think it was an
a hawk,
Asian. It was a brown eagle. I think.
brown eagle or something. I don't know. It looked very. It had the sound effects of like
The
it's like-
viewer goes to watch and it's a hippo. Like, what are these guys talking about?
It's great.
It's a hippo and a goat.
No,
Yeah.
this movie's fun. Good choreography.
I was mentioning to the
Quaint
guys,
story.
To Aaron who hadn't seen it. I was like, it's traditional long shots on a boom cam that
Yeah.
goes through
Yeah.
a building and backs up, and you see a scene in a single shot. That's insane, and none of the people in the scene are moving because it's like we're gonna stop for a second and everyone's paying attention to something happening over there, and we're all
Head of
just
the
gonna
I
back
think
out. and
crocodile
zoom.
gang beating up a cop.
The
Yeah.
Yeah.
opening scene was like that too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I will say, like a really well done, really really well made. The choreography was fantastic.
Yeah.
The stunts were fantastic, but it's also it's delightful. And I think part of the delight comes from the fact that it doesn't take itself too seriously.
Oh, it knows it totally doesn't take itself
For
seriously.
sure.
It laughs at itself because they know that's like, oh, you got the lion's roar, and it's like, well, yeah, but
I
don't
thought the
using
lion's
it.
roar was a myth.
Yes,
Which apparently, there's trivia about that, where the saying is that if the lion roars from the east of the river, it means it refers to a woman henpecking her husband.
oh geez,
Which is an extra joke into why the woman had the lion's roar.
Oh,
the
geez.
constant cigarette lipped landlady who
Our heroine, main
who only
female
dressed
lead.
in going out clothes once.
yeah, she got dressed up once,
Rest of the time is always in nightgowns and curlers.
and lot really big curlers.
really big curlers, and constantly had a cigarette.
Yes,
Oh.
Yeah.
and it's interesting because the portrayal of the common folk, the poor people, the gangs don't mess with the poor
Sassy.
people because they don't have any money to give.
Yeah.
There's two ideas. Like one idea is kind of like the common folk, they matter, and the importance of everybody. Like this sort of, I don't say proletariat. It's not the right word, but the everybody together, egalitarianism. That's maybe the right word. And then this other like veneration of mastery and veneration of expertise. You've got one kung fu master that because he's so gifted and is so skilled, he can take out 400 other dudes. Because
Yes.
because
Well, that's
of-
Bruce Lee.
because the discipline and the skill and the dedication to craft. I think those are both really interesting ideas.
You don't have to have studied anything about Chinese culture to watch this film and understand that because it's just plainly presented.
Yeah. Doesn't hold your hand. Like, I love when a movie doesn't over explain everything. It
Yeah.
just tells you, here's the setting. You can figure it out.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, gangs are bad and the common folk are good.
Yes,
And the big boss fell asleep in the chair waiting for his hair after his haircut.
yeah, and it was funny because it was like, oh, those tattoos. That was totally just like drawn. I was like, where did they get pen and ink to do that? Because that looked really good. I was like, what? He's actually an artist. What the heck is this? Yeah,
The
no,
lead
there's
guy's
funny
good at
little things.
lockpicking. It's just a steady hand.
Yeah, and again, the whole thing with kung fu and the bad guy, the big bad guy, is like it's all about speed and control.
Same with Pokemon.
Yes, which I never played, so I wouldn't know.
It was
The faster you go, the sooner you hit, and then you get beat the other guy, and then you get there. You beat up the kid and take his money. It's a weird game.
but like speed and strategy matters, and then it
Oh,
can
yeah,
matter
yeah,
more
yeah.
than just raw strength. So that's also, I think, kind of a departure from a lot of other like action movies too. Usually, it's like raw strength and bigger
American
guns.
action movies, there's a lot of two big sweaty men pushing each other, and whoever can push harder wins.
Yeah,
Or who can
Something like
who
that.
can take more hits, like Rocky. He gets beat to bejesus, but keeps getting up.
Yeah.
Speaking of big sweaty men, I lost my train of thought.
Yeah, there was a lot of sort of innuendo going on and with a lot of sweatiness, and
One of those masters was real greased up.
he was.
The ring arm guy.
Oh yeah.
Of those three masters, which do you guys prefer? I'm wobbly stick man.
The wobbly stick dude was
That's
like I
very
said,
cool.
he was the one that lasted the longest, and he stood up. And I was like, oh, just wait. He's going to throw his sticks up and then start kicking them at the dudes. It's just like, that's dope, dude. That's old school.
It's very cool.
I also he joined a fight to help somebody else out.
Yes.
He didn't pick the fight. He came in because he saw what was happening and he saw it wasn't right.
Yeah. And that came back around to the old two masters that were, the landlords. And it, again, is about you're selfish. If you don't want to help everyone out, you're selfish. And that is so communist. Oh my God. It's like, here's some,
So for our glorious nation state, you should watch this movie.
Yes.
Yes. Glory to... actually, this was a co-production I saw on Wiki real briefly before we started recording. Co-production between Hong Kong companies and mainland Chinese companies.
Hey.
Yeah. So
Very cool.
collaborative. And it was one of the top 10 foreign films that grossed... top 10 grossing foreign films in the United States. And way back in the 2004.
Yeah.
Which year I guess it evidently still is.
It's always 2004 with us.
What was I doing in 2004?
I don't know. What were you doing?
Existing.
Yeah. Breathing and drinking.
Speaking of drinking,
Oh, yes.
what about our beers? This
Yes.
epic martial art beer showdown.
It was good.
It was crazy. Mine kept tripping across the room and running around on wires and shooting like dragon lasers. It was bonkers.
Mine threw
Yeah.
a spear at me. I didn't appreciate that.
Yeah, you were pretty freaked out.
Yeah. He was taking his time. No, we
I can't do this beer.
we had thought, I was like, hey, I have this beer on draft. And we went and picked up some really good food and some pizza and stuff from Old Town Brewing. And I was like, hey, they have this really good beer called Polly's Not Irish Red.
Love this beer.
And it is an Irish red, but it's kind of a funny joke that they call it that. And it's been around a long time. It's one of their stable, consistent beers. You can find it in cans at some places, but they don't distribute very widely. So
I've never seen it.
you
I believe you, but I haven't seen it not where I
They-
shop.
They have two locations, one in Old Town, that was the original, and then they have the brewery location, which is up on
MLK?
MLK, just off of MLK. Well,
Yeah.
it's on the corner of MLK and
Right.
between Killingsworth and Alberta. It's really great space.
Yeah.
Wonderful people that work there. They make some really good food. They have this Detroit style pizza that was really nice. So I was like, hey, let me get a couple of crowlers. And for those that don't know what a crowler is, it's not a growler. It's a can that's about half the size of a normal growler. It's, what about 2.5 pints?
It's slightly smaller than a growlette.
Yes,
But it's different from Mr. Crowley.
correct. But I do have a growlette, which is the half size growler. It's a real thing. We're not making it up, folks. They come in different shapes and sizes, and some have handles and some don't. But
Just like people.
exactly.
Some people have handles, some don't.
You beat me to it, Blake. I was going to make that exact same joke.
So Old Town Brewing, check them out. They've won a lot of awards. So the Not Irish Red is
Delicious.
5.6%
Yeah.
ABV, 30 IBU. So it's not super bitter. It's got just more of a malt body. It's really rich caramely. There's a little bit of sweetness on the mid. It's just really well balanced. They use Pearl and Mountain Hood hops. So those are two Northwest style, which is real similar to the red that I make as a home brewer. And
Yeah.
I appreciate the fact that it's not overpowering. It just has a nice flavor.
I always feel like I've had a meal when I drink a single Polly's Not Irish. I think because of all the stuff in there, all those words you just said that I'm blanking on now.
I really like red ales, and this one was really a nice example, I think, because it wasn't overpowering. It was, the flavors came together nicely, and I wouldn't say it was subtle by any means, but everything balanced in a nice way.
Yeah.
Thanos approved.
Thanos approved. Yeah. So the idea was we got two draft beers, one that we got at the brewery and the other here locally at the house. And the other was a Pilsner. And we had tried to decide which do we want to do first. And I think we were all like, let's do the red first, which is kind of odd and weird, but it didn't have as much hops. Whereas this Pilsner from Crux, which is 5.2 and 35 IBU, so slightly more from an IBU scale, more bitter, but less body, but more flavor forward. It's really sharp and acidic.
There is a lot of flavor I think that's why I like the Crux Pilsner, because there is that flavor, but you're not getting filled up.
Yes.
That's why I don't drink a lot of IPAs, because you feel full.
Yeah.
There's a bit of sharpness. I almost think of a little acidity to it. It's crisp.
Yes, it's very crisp. So Czech Saws, hops, and Oregon Sterling. Oregon Sterling is real similar to Czech Saws. It's going to have that almost like a lemon pith. So the rind of a lemon.
Yeah.
It's going to dry out. And it's going to have a little bit of acidity. It's not going to distract from the malt because this has a really thin, super thin cracker. Almost biscuit-like. like biscuit dough, not cooked biscuit, but like biscuit, like really raw, like just it's got this weird kind of. It's not cooked or baked in any way. It's just kind of raw, and just, to me anyway, I don't know. That's just my flavor profile.
I like my biscuit like I like my kung fu scenes raw.
See, I like my fight scenes flaky.
Yeah, the malt is there, but the hops are the focus of most pilsners, and this has that spicy herbal with a little bit of lemon, and it has an aftertaste of lemon, which is very typical of.
It's probably why I like it. I love citrus.
Yeah,
Likewise.
American pilsners not so much, but German and Czech pilsners.
There we go.
I'm like, we had recently some Italian pilsners, and our friend Stan, bless his heart, it's not a real style, and he hates it when we talk about it. But I think there's differentiations in where pilsners come from and the style that they should reflect, be it the hops or the malts that they use. So yeah, it's all good.
Well,
So
I think for this movie, I feel like the Polly's Not Red matched the movie a little better. Like
it was serious, but not too serious.
Yeah. Like I love the Pilsner. Like obviously I love that Pilsner, but I feel like I want to watch a Western while drinking that. And this needed something with substance, with a little complexity, like the Polly's Not Red.
There was some showdown action going on in the film. There's the gang showed up and they threw down, and the three kung fu guys fended off the gang, and then they came back and basically killed him with the magical instrument. So it's like, if I was going to compare these two and we're going to fight it out, they're just different beers that are both good. I think it's a draw to me.
Like two masters fighting in a different style that are evenly matched and balanced against each other.
Yes, very, very true. Very, very spiritual of you. Thank you for sharing.
But Polly's wins.
I ultimately I think Polly's was a better beer for the movie because it just had that more complexity to it and a little more grounded, I guess.
This is considerably smarter than It's a Red, and China later adopted a red flag. So
I want to change my answer for that. Yes.
That's a stick and twist right there. Like the flower that he stuck and twist with the
oh yeah.
So in the fight scene, so the two former old masters go visit the Axe gang after they had broken out the Toad guy, who's the killer.
The beast.
The best killer ever.
The best killer ever. And he knows of them. They know of him. And they're like, we've never fought. And I think the couple got their butt whooped.
Oh, yeah.
Initially, yeah.
And then the Chi got released.
Yeah, but the couple did use some kind of lateral thinking and creativity and unorthodox strategy involving a funeral bell.
And running away.
That too. That running away can also be, I don't know if that's an unorthodox strategy, but maybe not the first one you would choose.
Yeah. And the Toad dude was, hey, I didn't know you could use the lion's roar through a speaker. And that's basically what she was doing. He's like, I'm going to amplify it, and we're just going to blow your ass up. Yeah. And she did, but he survived. He didn't. He was not defeated, and that's the whole point.
And he got all gussied up in an actual shirt, and was he still wearing his little sandals in that last fight? I already forgot.
I think he had regular shoes.
No, he had shoes on.
Because he had the
that's
the
right,
toe
that's
squash.
right.
The Toad, yeah, and that's the one cool thing is so the main character dude, his main move is toe squishing. Yeah, like he's gonna flatten your feet, and you're like, oh, I can't move.
But when the Toad Master was defeated, he accepted it, and he accepted the Chosen One to like be his new master and to learn from him.
Teach me that move that just whooped my butt.
That's right. That's
Weakness.
Right.
Never surrender.
I feel like that's an Eastern idea too. If you know you're bested, like, okay, if you can't beat them, join them. I'm going to learn from you too.
Exactly, and then kill you.
And then our mantra over here is USA, USA.
Well, that's how we get Kung Fu Hustle too.
The hustling.
Yeah, the hustling. That's a good name for it. We had these two great beers, and I think we all really like this film. I think if you were going to pick something to watch with a film like this, or this film exactly, find just something that's lighter and fun, or maybe something serious, because both are approachable to the film. I think the Pilsner, both of these beers worked. The red worked because it was complex and had some body, and there were some serious moments at the beginning and halfway through the film, and then it just got silly with the fight scenes. And
this is a good movie to have on behind the bar with no sound and the dub on. So if someone's just at a bar by themselves, they can watch this movie. Or you can just kind of peek over once in a while and see three old people beating each other up.
Yeah. And great, I think the special effects, because they didn't have a big budget, and there was some blue screen going on and some wire moving, and I think they treated it really well. They respected the art form and the choreography and the the dancing that occurs when you're doing the kung fu, and we had talked earlier about like it's harder to hold a punch instead of hitting. It's harder to pretend like you're hitting somebody, not hit them, and make it look like you actually hit them.
To pull a punch and sell it as an actual hit.
Yeah.
There's way more skill in that, and I applaud the actors and everybody involved in this film. It looked really good. It was convincing. I again had seen it before, but it's been a long time.
Yeah, every time I see it, it's always fun. I always have a good time watching this movie.
This was fun. My first time seeing it. I'm glad to have seen it today.
Sort of kid appropriate. There's some foul language, a little bit here and there,
A little bit of blood,
but no just straight up gore.
Fantasy violence. Does that
Fantasy violence is. I mean, it's like
there's
anything.
there's smoking, but it's almost treated as like a sight gag.
It is a sight gag, totally sight gag. I think kids would be young teenagers might be okay. Any younger than that, they wouldn't understand it.
Yeah. You want someone who understands, not parroting. They're paying homage to previous films of this style.
So you need a child that's familiar with 1970s Hong Kong
Shaw Brothers film.
Like me, I got exposed to that when I was a kid.
If that is your child, this is a great movie for them.
It is. It celebrates.
If your grandparents love that stuff, you can watch it with them.
There you go. That would actually be fun. Like get some people who've never have any clue or have never seen anything like that and see what they think of it. It's like this made a lot of money domestically and internationally and got some acclaims.
I forget the exact number, but it broke a record here above a previous Asian film that got dropped. And it was the first one in like a decade to break that record.
I feel like A Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon was like the really big Asian import before this. And like I'll be honest, like that was my introduction to a lot of like the Asian cinema tradition.
Same.
And I feel like there's probably a lot of at least Americans that had that same sort of that and like Princess Mononoke.
Yeah.
That and that was like 90, I don't know, it was 96, 98, 2001, kind of
something around there.
And this was 2000, as we said, 2004.
Again.
So I wonder if this matched like the ticket receipts or something from Crouching Tiger.
Who knows?
Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon 2000. So Matrix dropping in 99, then this in 2000. You got a glut of bullet time and wire fight scenes and parodies for at least 5 or 6 years.
But the Matrix dodge, I think, is still in film today. You can still see that reverberating around.
Yeah, it's never going anywhere. It's made.
Well, now we have the Christopher Nolan in trailers.
Yeah,
where it's dialogue and then it cuts and then boom.
You had mentioned, Blake, about the soundtrack and sound effects. Were very, very well done.
Yes.
There were some very funny kind of,
stuff that's like for a gag. Like
that's a sight gag kind of thing. And they had like when the dude, when the initial bad guy who's pretending to be in the axe gang runs away and the
that music,
old lady chases
that
it.
music didn't quite click.
It's like Roadrunner, Bugs Bunny shit going on there. I was like,
yeah.
That's hilarious. They're not taking.
I remember that from the
seriously.
trailer.
Yeah,
but they did have a fight scene where there was no music at all. And actually, when we were watching that, Blake called it out, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, you're right. That actually heightens the tension of the fight."
Yeah, because you can hear him when he hits the rings. It was with the tailor had his 10 rings on each arm or whatever it was, and the music making guys, the assassins that showed up, and he's like, "Oh, I know who you are, and I can defeat you," and this and that. And it was just making the sounds of things being clanged together. So it was like, man, that's really well done.
Oh yeah. I love martial arts movies. So I get so let down when I watch an American one where they make a lot of cuts to cover bad choreography. Because a good fight scene, and kids at home take this as a tip for old Uncle Blake.
Uncle Blake.
The better martial arts movies have long, few cuts in their fight scenes.
Yeah, it's a lot of one take.
People who do the choreography like for a living, they get paid for a reason.
Yeah.
If it cuts too frequently, I think it can confuse the action. Like you don't necessarily know what's going on. It can be kind of hard to follow exactly what's happening. But if there's a long shot with a fight scene, it's a much more clear of what's happening, kind of blow by blow as it happens.
Yes.
There are times you should use the quick cuts, and I can get into that another time. But good martial arts is few cuts, easily see what the action is.
Yeah. And, even if it does look fake, and there were a few kind of green screeny kind of shots where dude like goes up and then hangs for a second and then lands gently, and it's like, oh yeah, that was totally wires. And back then they didn't really have the computer technology to like cut it all out, so it was like they did it in a green screen and then added the background later, and it's like, yeah, it looks really fake, but that's okay. That wasn't the point. The point is like we're telling a great story about coming up and having your chi released and understanding. Hey, they use some great lines in this movie. with great power comes great responsibility.
From the rice magnate, Uncle Ben.
Yeah.
And Peter Porker.
Peter Porker, yes, because it was, Swine Alley.
Oh my God, it's all connected. We should watch the post-credit scene where Jake Johnson shows up.
Yes, that'd be awesome. Now, let's figure out a fun game to play with this. So if we're going to rename our beer, which one do we want to rename? Or it doesn't matter, but rename it using a kung fu move that you think is real.
I'm going to rename the Pilsner. I'm going to name it Buddha's Hops.
Oh, that's actually really good. You win. I'm not even going to try at that point. You just
Well,
won.
man, all right. Let me think. I'll go with the Polly. Is it Polly's not red? Polly's not Irish.
Not Irish red.
Not Irish red. The Shamrock Foot.
Oh, there you go.
Hey.
Because there's a lot of feet going on in this film. A lot of feet. So you're putting me on the spot, and I have to just come up with something, invent something
we're just
quickly.
staring at Dan.
We're just staring at me, and I'm
Looking
just
at
like,
your soul.
I don't know. Bounces Off Eagle. I would rename the Pilsner.
Bounces Off Eagle, so good.
and just call it Bounces Off Eagle, because the dude, when he gets sent into the upper atmosphere, he just sits there and he's floating.
He's using the ancient move. It bounces off Eagle.
And
Whoa.
he does his little, as Aaron had mentioned, it's like you're going to tiptoe across the water or tiptoe up the bamboo shoot or whatever. And he's like tiptoeing off the eagle. He's like,
That's so good.
and he goes up and meets Buddha.
But Bounces Off Eagle is very clearly an American beer.
Yes.
America.
Pilsner, even though this is not an American Pilsner.
Oh, it's not?
It's not.
We'll get an Asian American to play that role.
Yeah. This is.
He'll look
this
at the
is-
beer and have a single tear going down his eye.
Yeah, that would be on the label. The eagle with one tear bounces off an eagle, and you're like, what the hell?
I'd buy it.
Right.
That's amazing, because that to me is like the epitome. That is like, I'm up here, I figured out some things, but I need more direction. And you're like, and Buddha presented and says, here we go.
You are one with Buddha, and you're one with nature. You're one with everything in the world. You are interconnected with everything in a very Buddhist way, and you're going to go down and you're going to kick some ass.
Well, you're going to make
Much like the Buddhists do.
you're going to make a big impression in the ground of your palm and your fingers, and the dude's going to be like, ow. And then he's going to be like, but I don't give up quite yet. I'm going to sneak it. And then it's like, boom. It's like, yeah, his hand through the building is kind of like, yeah, he's a little bit more powerful than you at this point.
Yeah. There was a moral of like cheaters never win.
They don't.
In Kung Fu Hustle.
They always lose in the end, including the guy who was in charge of the gang who got his butt whooped and then died in the end. But that's a plot spoil.
Anytime Dan talks about a movie, it's a plot spoil.
Yeah,
That's why we love you,
pretty
buddy.
I appreciate everybody hanging in there and listening to us yammer on about this great film. Check it out if you can. It's on various streaming
It's
platforms.
floating around.
It's out there. I highly recommend it. It's a good not even a chick flick. It's a great date movie because it has a great story and you can drink some beers and laugh at it and it's okay.
It's delightful. It's delightful.
Strong female characters.
Yes.
Yes.
She whoops some butt. Like the landlady doesn't.
Well, shoot,
she just,
the
like,
one
whooping some
regular
butt.
lady who, the girl running around whose lipstick gets messed up is the leader of the poor people.
Yeah, she's like, I'm going to beat some butt.
It's like, you need to help. You need to go help out. You shut up. And then the yelling. And
She is like the
Very feminist.
the emotional and social leader of all of, like there's the landlady, but then the lipstick lady. Absolutely, you're right.
Yeah, she had some big lips too.
And then
anyway.
the moral authority of the whole film is
yeah.
the lollipop girl.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
This is
deaf
very
mute that sells
female.
ice cream that has the lollipop
Yeah,
that he.
yeah.
It's all about saving the
Female
young and the
empowerment.
innocent. Yes, and they come back around and get you in the end. All right, so. Thanks for listening, everybody, and all of the opinions expressed during the taping of this episode are those of the hosts. And, we thank you all for hanging in there and check out this awesome film. Get yourself some good beers. And
Don't forget to hydrate, otherwise you're going to dehydrate.
Oh, yeah. We
I couldn't think of a non-offensive way to do that.
Yeah.
Dude, that's what I was going to say regular.
We were doing a bunch of water in this, too. So it's like, yeah, we need water.
So it's a school night.
It is a school night. So, all right. So this is Dan sending me off. Thank you, everybody, for listening.
Blake palm strikes his way out.
Aaron with the Buddha flower. Thanks you for listening.